Hey everybody, it's your girl Urban Farm Sister.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'm back. It's me, Nadia Ruffin. I know you guys probably missed me. I've been on a short hiatus. I've had a lot of projects and things I've been working on, but I'm back, and we're going to get right back into the groove of teaching you guys about science, agri-science at home. So today, we're going to learn how to make creamy cheese out of cheese that you may already have at your home. Um, we have a few things I'm going to talk about first, and then we'll have our guest come in and she'll explain to you how to go about making the cheese. First of all, for those of you who do not know me, because I know I haven't been on here in a while and I have some new viewers, my name is Nadia Ruffin. I'm actually located in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm an entomologist, I'm a scientist, farmer, researcher, and educator. I have 2 degrees. I have a bachelor's of science in agriculture from the Ohio State University. My major was animal sciences, and I was pre-veterinary medicine. I also have a master's of science in entomology from the University of Nebraska, so that's where my entomology knowledge comes from. I'm owner of Kiwi Produce, which is a urban farm here located in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'm also founder of Agri-Academy Inc., which is a nonprofit organization. We do research as well as outreach, teaching about the agriculture industry beyond just farming. I'm co-owner of Agri-Academy Labs, which is a lab here in Cincinnati where we focus on biotechnology, entomology, as well as automation. So I'm an urban farmer. I grow my produce that I sell to the community either in hydroponics or I use a city lot that I purchase and I convert it into an urban farm. I keep bees and chickens and also teach people how to do that as well as some other agricultural techniques. I have years of experience in floriculture. My family owns a flower shop here in Cincinnati called Blossoms Florist. So before I became, an independent researcher and entomologist, I worked in a lot of veterinary medicine. So I have a background in veterinary and medical research. I've worked in places like University of Georgia, Ohio State University, Ohio Department of Agriculture, University of Cincinnati. I was also a communicable disease investigator with Hamilton County Public Health here in Cincinnati. So when people got sick, similar to what you see going on with the COVID-19, I was one of those investigators that had to figure out where people were exposed and, try to prevent the spread and things like that. So first of all, I'd like to thank you all, to all my contributors, for sort of supporting my channel. If you'd like to become a contributor, you can do so by contributing in one of the following ways. First of all, you can follow my YouTube page. So it's youtube.com/urban farm sister. If you'd like to contribute monetarily, you can do so by using PayPal. You can send it to NadiaRuffin@gmail.com. You can use Cash App, money sign Nadia Ruffin, or you can go to my Patreon, which is patreon.com/urban farm sister. Also, nonprofit Agri-Academy Inc. We are always, collecting donations, whether it be in kind or monetary. If you'd like to donate to our farming is essential project, you can do so by going to www.agriacademyinc.org/farming. Also, Agri-Academy, we have a course that's coming up here in January. To be considered for this course, it's called Black Empowerment Through Agriculture. To be considered, you must be a minimum of 10 years age older, and we have what you call a youth cohort and an adult cohort. You must identify yourself as Black or African American. You must live in the Cincinnati tri-state area, and that's the whole region. There's a whole bunch of counties. When you pull up the site, it'll tell you the counties that make up this area. If you live in one of those and you're an African American or Black and you're at least 10 years old, you can apply to be part of this course. All these classes will be taught online. We only have space for 100 people total to enroll, so please respond to this application by December 15th, 2020. Please note that this is not a gardening class. This is actually a class to show you how to farm for profit, small scale farm for profit. People think because they live in a city they can't farm. This course is going to show you that you can be a farmer, and we'll show you how to go about doing that. So this is not a gardening course. All right, so tonight we're going to talk about cheese. Okay, switch the screens here. So cheese is a dairy product derived from milk and produce in wide ranges of flavors, textures, forms by coagulation of the milk protein casein. A lot of chemistry goes into making cheese. This includes altering the pH, adding salts, enzymes, a whole bunch of different chemicals to produce the cheese that you're trying to get. It comprises of proteins and fats from milk, usually the milk of cows, buffalo, goats, or sheep. Now I know there are some vegan cheeses, but that is not the true definition of what cheese was originally was. By some estimates, there are more than 1,800 different types of cheese in the world, and there are almost as many ways of classifying them as there are cheeses. So here are some terms that I'm going to be using, so I want you guys to know what they are. Because when I go explaining the whole process of how cheese is made, I'm going to be using these words, and they might be kind of challenging, and people may have never seen them before. So coagulation means a change from a liquid to a thickened mass, or curdle, or congeal. So when you're making cheese and you add certain chemicals and things, it'll cause the milk to curdle, make those curds. Pasteurization, milk that has been heated to a temperature of 161 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds, or to 145 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes or more. Pasteurization will kill pathogens such as Listeria and E. coli. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a lot of cheese products being recalled, and the first thing you'll usually see is Listeria, and the other bacteria is usually E. coli. Uh, when you pasteurize the cheese, it's supposed to kill those microorganisms. Although Listeria, don't want to get into a deep microbiology lesson here, but this bacteria can withstand very high temperatures as well as very low temperatures. So it's just a hard bacteria to get out of cheese. So just know that it may or may not be there, and if it is there and they find it, a lot of times there's going to be a recall. Casein. Casein is the main protein that is found in milk. Whey is the watery part of milk that separates after the milk sours and thickens. So when you add the acid that we're going to talk about to make those curds, what that liquid part is called whey. Brine is a water strongly saturated with salt. This is going to be very important when our guest shows us how to go about making the cheese, because she's going to use cheese that has already been created, and she's going to add salts and things to actually break down that chemical compounds to make it the creamy cheese. Rennet, oops, it's a enzyme found in baby ruminant animals' stomachs. It's actually in their fourth chamber of their stomach. That it causes milk to coagulate in the casein, and is used commercially to curdle milk and making of cheese. Now there is a plant-based rennet that is available now, because what they have to do is they have to actually take this rennet from um, you know baby bovines, usually the ones that are slaughtered, and people use for meat. They take that rennet out of there and they use it in the cheese production. Well, they actually produce now. They're called genetically modified enzymes. There's a bacteria and things that can actually produce this rennet enzyme. And this is what is usually used in vegan cheeses, because they can't eat the rennet that's actually derived from animals. All right, so cheese making. It's We're gonna cover it in 10 steps, depending on where you live. Different countries have different processes of how they go about making cheese, especially if you're doing it at home, commercially. Depends on what type of cheese you're trying to make. It could be even more than 10 steps. But basically, what happens is you have step one, you have milk. Cheese makers have a lot of decisions when it comes to selecting the milk for cheese making. The animal species, the breed, the time of year. Milk can also be heat treated, pasteurization. have fat added, remove standardization. So basically, you have to start with milk if you're making real cheese. And what happens is cheesemakers, they go out and they'll get milk. Sometimes they'll get milk, from a grocery store, or they'll go right to the farmer and they'll get raw milk. So depending on what stage you're starting your milk your cheese at, depends on the milk. Every animal produces, different fats in their milks and things like that. If you're taking milk from dairy cows, um, the fat content can be very different from cow to cow. So what they have to do is they have to take that milk and they have to standardize it, which means they have to make it homogeneous, and that's called homogenization, where they make it consistent. So they'll take those flat globules that are in there and they'll make them all consistent so it's all the same milk. Then what they do is they add acid. The two main methods to acidifying milk is through culturing or direct acidification. Culturing refers to a starter culture bacteria which ferment lactose into lactic acid. A cheesemaker can also choose to add acid directly via vinegar, lactic acid, etc. So when you add this acid, what it does, it breaks down that lactose sugar that's in there and turns it into lactic acid. And when breaking down that sugar, what it does, it causes that milk to start to go into coagulation. So coagulation is a step in cheese making process that results in solid or semi-solid curds from the liquid milk. Um, this process can be accomplished by adding acid or adding the enzyme rennet or adding heat. And often all three of these steps are combined depending on the cheese you're making. Sometimes you just add the acid. If you're making a different cheese, you might add acid and rennet, and then some cheeses, you might add one or the other or all three. So the fourth step is cutting. Cutting is the first of many steps with the goal of removing moisture from the curd. After all, cheese making is really just the controlled dehydration of milk. Cutting increases the surface area just drastically, encouraging weight loss. So what they do is once they have that curd, they'll push that curd together into one big like um, structure, like a ball or whatever, and then they'll take it and they'll cut it. And cutting it removes the moisture in between there. Um, and that moisture is called whey, the whey protein. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard about whey protein, especially in protein shakes and things like that. Well, that's where they get that whey from. So then after they cut it and they start to, separate the curd from the whey, they'll cook it. In this case, cooking the curd means applying mild heat, which is usually 90 or 120 degrees Fahrenheit, depending on cheese variety, and stirring the curds to encourage even heat distribution. Applying heat to the curd particles removes the whey, continuing the trend of water loss. So you're still producing this dehydrated. You're trying to take that moisture out and have only that curd left over. After you have separated the whey from the curd, you want to do draining. So what you do, you'll take that curd has been swimming in whey for the last several steps of the cheese making process. Now comes the time to remove the whey by draining it away. Rarely is whey allowed to go down the drain and usually processed further. And that's usually what they do is they'll dehydrate that and they'll make it into a powder, and that's how you get whey protein. If you had 10 pounds of milk, you'll have 9 pounds of whey and 1 pound of cheddar. That's the first cheese that's made in this process. So step 7 is salting. The exact time and amount of salt added to cheese during the cheese making process is highly specific to the type being produced. Sometimes it adds to the curd, the cheese is soaked in brine, or it is dry rub salted. So as this step 7 is what we're actually going to do. Our guest is going to show you. We're going to start at 7 because we already have our cheese produced and things like that. And we're going to add this salt. And what this will do, it'll help break down the texture and make it that creamy cheese that you're looking for. But then you go to step 8. Curds can be formed into the final shape of the desired cheese through a variety of methods. A variety of forms or hoops exist for cheese to take its final shape, such as large block forms, small round forms, and anywhere in between. Step 9 is pressing. Some cheeses are pressed after their curds have been placed into a form or hoop. The pressing encourages curds to knit together, forming a solid piece of cheese while simultaneously encouraging further whey to be drained. And then some cheeses are not pressed, depending on the type of cheese that you're making. The final step is aging. So aging can be days, months, it can be weeks, it actually be years depending on the cheese. The final step in cheese making process is to age the cheese. The length of time a cheese needs to age depends greatly on the variety in question. Some cheeses are readily to consume almost immediately after they're made, like fresh cheeses like ricotta and cottage cheese and things like that, whereas some require weeks, months, years in order to obtain the proper flavor and texture profile that the cheesemaker is targeting. So that's the 10 steps that we're going to talk about, that I'm talking about, that shows how cheese is made here in the United States. Now we're going to switch over to our guests, Heavenly Plates, sides, and desserts. And we're going to have Chef Celeste Harrell explain to us how to make this creamy cheese. A little bit about Heavenly Plate. Heavenly Plate Sides and Desserts is an exclusive pre-order home-style food service. They prepare dinners, side dishes, and desserts using quality ingredients, fresh meats, and produce. They are located in Fresno, Clovis area in California. You can follow Heavenly Plates Sides and Desserts on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And I'll actually put those links in the description of this video. So now I'm going to switch it over to Celeste. Hold on one second and unmute her. And she is going to show us how to make creamy cheese. Can you hear me, Celeste? I can't hear you. Is your mic on? Is it muted? I don't hear anything. I can't hear you. I don't know what happened to your audio. um, Try going down where it says camera and mic and see if you have to reconnect your microphone.
Okay. Hello, hello,
Okay.
hello.
Yes, I can hear
Hello.
you now. I can hear you
Oh,
now.
okay. All right.
All right. So.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Chef Celeste. Can you hear me real good now, or do I need to speak
Yes.
louder?
Yes.
Okay. And today, and I'm from Heavenly Plates. I live in Fresno, California. I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio, and my grandmother owned Leona's Fish Grill. So I'm just gonna get cut right to the chase. We've been having so many problems. I'm ready to just do this. So I'm serious. Thank you, Nadia, for having me on your platform. That was a great introduction on cheese. I learned some more stuff about it, and so I really appreciate being here. And so we're going to just go on and get started on this. What you see here, can you fix the camera to here? Just okay. So what you see here is I'm gonna explain some of this equipment that I have. Is here is my immersion circulator. I have a batch of water here, and this is circulating at 167 degrees. This here is my a batch of the cheese that I've already started. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this go on and continue to melt, and I'm going to put together a recipe of the cheese for you right now. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is measure out the ingredients. We have 300 grams of cheese here that I'll cut up. This is 300 grams of cheese. It's exact measurement, huh? Because yeah, we have 3 different salts. We have kosher salt, we have sodium citrate, and we have sodium hexametaphosphate. Can you all say that? And these 2 salts are sequestering salts, and what they do is they help to break down the solids in the cheese. I also have it's going to be like 30 grams of ghee. Sometimes when I make this, and people don't always have these ingredients on hand. However, you can take a pot of water, and you can take some regular salt and milk and the other ingredients. Put your cheese in a plastic bag. Heat your water, but you got to keep your water um, a consistent temperature, which is what this immersion circulator does. And this is sous vide. If I missed the opportunity to let you all know that. And actually make this like at home in a pot. It's very, very simple. So what I'm going to do right now, let me cut this cheese up. I had a freezer storage bag. Can I get a bag right quick? Is this the one? No, not that one.
So is there a certain type of cheese you have to use, or can you
You
use
know
any
what?
kind?
You can actually make this with different types of cheese. You can use um, blue cheese. You can use.
What kind of cheese are you using?
Right now I'm using, this is sharp cheddar cheese, and I'm just cutting it up into blocks,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna add it to
the sous vide,
a plastic bag, and then I'll show you. Let me get this cut up right quick. So
why did you choose to use that kind of cheese?
it's, you can use any kind. You can use this. You can use Swiss. You can use Gruyere. You can use Monterey Jack. Any cheese that you actually want. And so what this cheese will do is once it's cooled off, which I'll show you too, is once it's cooled and chilled, you can actually use it to make slices. And so this is your own like homemade version of Velveeta.
Okay.
It's really creamy.
So let me get this started. I'll show you all how to put it together, and then I'll take the other batch and I'll put it in the blender, and we'll move on from there.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna take this. What you do is you take your cheese, you put it into a Ziploc bag. Then you add your other salts and milk. You have about 120 grams of milk here. Just
Okay.
regular milk, 120 grams, or about a half a cup. half a cup of milk. Now, for this specific recipe, it's very specific to the ingredients when it comes to the salts. So the hexametaphosphate, this one here, you only have to use like a very scant amount. It's like 0.75 grams of it, and that's how powerful this stuff is. You know, it'll probably break down your skin. And so what I do is I just take this amount is so small. I just take and put a little bit about. It's less than like a quarter of a teaspoon, maybe even less than an eighth of a teaspoon.
Okay.
And so that goes in, and then usually I do, and it's not gonna register on the scale, so I can just take that off, make that 0. For the sodium citrate, that too, it's like 9 grams, but it will show, and 9 grams is less than a teaspoon too.
Okay.
Am I right?
Yes.
You know, I have to check with you. Okay, and so 9 grams goes in here, and you have to have 4 grams of regular kosher salt, and you mix these salts together. You just don't put, and one time I took these salts, I was mixing them together. I just took my hand and just mixed them all together. And you know what happened? My finger started stinging.
Ow.
So that's how I actually know what's going to happen if you put your hands in. This is some powerful chemicals here.
Yes.
So we got 9 grams of sodium citrate and 4 grams of regular kosher salt.
Okay.
And so altogether, you have about 13 grams of your salts.
So the salt basically is going to break down the cheese.
Yeah. And so just blend those together, dump them in. And so put these in. You need 30 grams of ghee, which I very rarely even bother to measure it, but you know.
How do you remember all these numbers?
I done made this enough. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to make. Last year we came home, and I taught my great nieces how to make this. And so there we go. We got 30 grams.
That was the best mac and cheese in the world.
They were lining up at there like I was giving away gold bars or something. So then in goes the ghee.
And can you explain to people what ghee is? They may not know what that is.
Yeah, ghee is clarified butter, and it's when the solids it's just the oil, and it's no like milk solids or anything like that. It's just the fat from the milk or the butter. Okay, and so you see that? Mix it up. And when you put that in here, let me see. Let's move some of this stuff here out of the way. Here, Kiki, move that. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Okay, because I want them to see this. I think I need that no more. Okay. So we move this, put this here. Move that for me, please. Catch that for me, please. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so take this out. And just set that right there. And then we're gonna put this in here. And so once you submerge this bag into the water, you let all of the air is just gonna be sucked out. It's gonna kind of like create a vacuum. And so that's what this is. This is like a vacuum bag thing.
Okay.
This is the most amazing piece of equipment anybody could have, even home chefs. And so home cooks could use that. And so now what we're gonna do with the cheese that I've already prepared is it's gonna go in here. It's gonna go in the blender. You can take an immersion blender and put it in put this mixture into a bowl and blend it like that as well.
Okay.
Okay, so all of that goes in there, and you see that the cheese is softened, really
Yes.
soft, not like completely broken down. Okay, it's another good piece of equipment here, the Vitamix.
You need to show it off.
Vitamix.
Not sponsored, but looking good.
Not sponsored, but this is a good piece of equipment, for whatever, And so we're gonna start off on low, and then watch it.
It's turning into cream cheesiness.
And so I'll turn it up a little bit more. Just let it blend, maybe about a minute or two, until it's nice and creamy.
Okay.
I think you might need a little bit more milk, but so far it's gonna be pretty good. Okay, let's take this out. Okay, a little creamy. Yeah, give me a little bit more milk. I'll just add a little more milk right there on the end to just help the creaminess. I might have put in too much cheese in this particular recipe. Here, put some in there. Okay, that's good. Just a little more milk, just to keep it from being extra thick.
Okay.
And of course, it would do this right now. Any other time it'd be turned. I wouldn't even have to have no milk.
Mommy, how long does the cheese need to melt in sous vide?
Usually cooks about 45 minutes in sous vide. Give me a little bit more.
And what's the temperature of the water in the water bath?
It's 167 degrees.
Okay.
Yeah, this is nice and thick and gooey. Just a little bit more milk here.
We gotta have jalapeno on next time.
Yeah.
The white cheddar.
Did you want that chopped up?
No, not right now. Here, let me just add a little bit more milk to it to get it nice and creamy. Okay, let me check it. Let's see. All right, that's better. That's much better. Okay, and so see how creamy that is here? I'm going to pour it here in this bowl here. And so you can actually take this cheese and mold it,
Okay.
and it'll turn into your slices, your Velveeta slices. You can take this. You can use it for your mac and cheese, especially for mac and cheese. And
Okay.
you take some of it. You don't have to use all of this, but you take some of it and you use it, and you can use it as an addition to your bechamel. And so,
What's a bechamel?
it's a white sauce, flour, milk, butter.
That you use for
like the mac and cheese.
Yeah, and so
It's like a roux.
see how creamy that is?
Yes.
And so you can take this cheese and you can use it for just about any of your cheese things. Like I got some broccoli here that I steamed in the microwave. And the only thing I did was I put in the broccoli in a little bowl, put it in the microwave, and put some olive oil, salt, and black pepper for seasonings on it, and then
You want one of these?
yeah, give me one. Great for dipping. Mm, not too salty. And you know, this is a really, for the amount of cheese that you use. Look at what it produced.
Yeah, I produce a lot.
It is a lot. Like for 11 ounce, less than a pound of cheese, and you know, if you think about this, and this right here looks like about what, maybe a pint and a half. You
Hmm.
know, so it's really economical. You know, you can also like I said, chill it, and it'll turn solid, and you can use it for slices for your hamburger. I'll just put a little there for your for this broccoli. Give me a spoon.
Are you okay with four?
It's fine. Just a spoon so I can just stir this up in here. And there you have it. It's almost very simple, you know.
Yes. So if you want to use it for slices, you would do like put it in a mold or something.
What you do is you take some um, plastic wrap, line a loaf pan.
Okay.
Mm, that almost tastes like meat. If I didn't know this was broccoli, I think it was beef.
I think so. Definitely.
Yeah, you want to taste it?
Yeah.
Um, you take your I'm sorry for talking with food in my mouth. Is it good?
It's fire.
It's my family.
Delicious.
You take your let me see. You see how it's starting to solidify.
Okay. Yes.
You know, it's getting thicker and thicker and more, not thicker, but it's becoming more solid. And so you
Okay.
take a loaf pan, you line your loaf pan with plastic wrap. You pour this mixture in and overlap the plastic wrap, cover it up, pop it in the refrigerator, and in the morning you're ready for. You can use it for cheese slices. You can take it. It's so versatile. You can remelt it for more. You can remelt it for whatever you want to make. Like if you wanted to take some jalapenos, some pickled jalapenos, some red pepper, saute those and throw those in, and you'll have a nice nacho sauce. You can put a little bit of cayenne in. You don't need any salt. It's got enough salt in it. So that it's just that simple. You take this, like I said, you can use it for your bechamel, for your cheese sauce, and this makes a very good base for your mac and cheese. And you know, and this is just one cheese. You know, I made macaroni and cheese with just this cheese and maybe a few, like just one cheese profile, and turned out excellent. So I think that's probably one of the next videos that I'd like to do. And that's it. This is it. Here you go. Creamy cheese. This right here. See it? Uh-uh. Can't see
Oh,
it.
can't see it.
Okay, here.
Oh, okay. The water bath. Yes.
Yes, in the water bath. Let me pull it back so you all can push it. Oh, okay. Yeah. And so, you see,
Yes. It's already starting to separate.
uh-huh, and this one right here is really melting a whole lot better than that other one. It's probably, but the other one probably had sat in the bath past this time. But yeah, this really is a time. You know, it's 45 minutes. It's worth the time. It's worth the value. You have to think about how much money you would save. Like, how much does like that? And then, you know, it's such, okay, cheese already, you showed us that cheese already goes through a process, right?
Right.
Okay, so that process in and of itself is kind of like a stress on the food itself.
Yes.
So you're limiting the amount of chemicals, even though these are some pretty potent chemicals, just because of the gastronomy of it. However, it's still, in my opinion, worth it to make this cheese. And like I said, you don't have to. You don't have to have. Hand me those. The the sodium citrate, and yeah. Okay. So these are the salts.
Okay.
And so this is the sodium hexametaphosphate, and it and it's like, you know, in the smaller bag it's like $6, but this is a little bit more expensive. And then
Okay.
sodium citrate is not really expensive, you know, but they're just good for me, you know, to
Right.
have on hand because I like to make this cheese with these salts. However, like I said, you can just use your regular kosher salt. You can take a pot, put some water in it, heat the pot. You can use a thermometer and
Mhm.
just heat it to a certain to 167 degrees, and keep it at that consistent boil, which is the reason that this circulator is such a good tool for me to have in my kitchen, because I've used it to make uh, steaks and chicken. When I'm making my chicken breast and stuff like that,
Mhm.
tri-tip, all of those things, you know, you can really save time, you know, using this method, because you can it'll you can use it for food prepping. You know, I
Okay.
take some make the chicken breast, pop them in the refrigerator. You can season them any way you want to, and then pull them out. Only thing you have to do to it is finish it. You know, put it in a grill skillet, or you can sear it. You can actually take them and put them back on the barbecue. Put them on a barbecue grill. You know, and just bring it back up to the temperature that it's supposed to be when it's thoroughly cooked. Like if like right now I have a tri-tip that I cooked in sous vide that I cooked to 130 degrees, but I put
Mhm.
it in the refrigerator. So I'm gonna take it out, let it get room temperature, heat up my barbecue grill, throw it on the barbecue grill, get it back up to 130, get a nice crust on it, and it's perfect. You know,
Okay.
and I mean,
Mhm.
this immersion circulator, submersion circulator, really helps to bring out the quality of your food. Is less opportunity to mess it up, you know.
Right. Right.
So look, see how it started to solidify when it gets
Yes.
to room temperature.
Yes.
See, So yeah, here we go. Creamy cheese turned into solid.
Well, thank you for showing us how to do that. Perfect timing since Thanksgiving is tomorrow. People can, if
Well,
they have no thought, they can do
I
that
hope.
at home.
Yeah, and I hope that if anybody has any questions about it, that they feel free to ask me. They can always message me on my Instagram and on my Facebook and on Messenger.
Is
And also,
your Instagram, is it Heavenly Plates?
yes, my Instagram is at Heavenly Plates. I also
Okay.
have a YouTube channel. I have a couple videos there. You
Okay.
subscribe, please. I only got like 200 followers.
Okay.
I'm fresh. You'll be the first ones to be in on a hot new thing. Thank you, Nadia, for having me. Oh, Nadia,
Yes.
um, what are we gonna do next? What do you want to do?
Did you still want to do the sourdough starter?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I do. And so we got to get some people involved because the importance of sourdough starter, and this is a heads up for you all that's out here, that you all have to stay tuned to the things that we're going to be doing, because people have like sourdough starters and they've passed them down for generations, and so if you don't have a picture to pass down, at least you'll have a sourdough starter.
Yes. Right.
People take their sourdough starters on the airplane with them so they can feed them. So
Oh,
that's a big
wow.
deal. Yeah. So
Okay.
yes, I'm looking forward to that. It's like a 7-day process, but yeah, we're gonna talk about that and get
Okay.
that in the works. Thank you for having me. I'm so
Thank
so happy.
you.
You know, you're one of my favorite people, don't you?
Oh, thank you.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of
Thank
this. This is
you.
one of my happiest moments. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
having
I
me on your
appreciate you
show.
coming on here. I was glad you reached out to me yesterday. 'Cause I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I can do those videos. I haven't done one in a while. So
We have a few technical issues here. I'm kind of new
yeah,
to
it's all right.
this platform,
We
but
got it
I just
done.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you, Nadia.
You're welcome. Thank you. And I will put your information in the what do you call it? The description
Yes,
links and stuff on
yes.
the YouTube video so they can contact you if they want to.
Uh huh.
If they have any questions, and yes, please go subscribe to her channel, subscribe to her Instagram, and her Facebook. If
Mm-hmm.
and like we said, we'll have some more videos coming up. The next one will be talking about sourdough starters. So, uh, yeah, thanks. I really appreciate you coming on here and showing us how to do this. This was very
Thank
interesting.
you, Nadia, for having me. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hold on one second. I'm just switching screens here.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So if you guys have any other questions, like I said, you can reach out to her on her Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all under Heavenly Plates. Also, if you guys are interested, I'll have this information on our school website. You can visit the school website at www.kiwiproduce.farm/courses. And if you have any other questions for me, you can reach me at uh, my email, urbanfarmsister@gmail.com, or you can reach me on the school website if you're registered for classes on there. You can also find me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram under Urban Farm Sister. Hope you guys have a great holiday, and I hope you can utilize this recipe in some of your dishes over either it might not be Thanksgiving, but we have a whole bunch of other holidays coming up that you can utilize it for, or just every day. So
Mm-hmm.
again, thank you again, Chef Celeste, for
Thank
coming on
you.
here.
Thank you for having me. You can make a dip out of it too. You
Yes,
know.
some
Yeah, you can
nachos.
make plenty of nacho dips. You can make anything, just
Yes.
anything.
All right. Well, thank you, and you guys have a good evening. Until next time, see you later.
Chef Celeste, in and out.
All right.